Ethan had always loved the tranquility of his small, rural town. Nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, it was a place where everyone knew each other, and life moved at a peaceful pace. But that peace was shattered one fateful night, as Ethan walked home from his job at the local bookstore. The night was unusually dark, the moon hidden behind thick clouds. Ethan took a shortcut through the woods, the path familiar and comforting. But as he neared the edge of the forest, he heard a low growl that sent a chill down his spine. He turned to see a pair of glowing eyes staring at him from the shadows. Before he could react, the creature lunged at him, knocking him to the ground. Pain shot through his arm as the beast's teeth sank into his flesh. Ethan fought back, kicking and punching with all his might, but the creature's strength was overwhelming. Just as suddenly as it had appeared, the creature released him and fled into the darkness. Ethan lay on the ground, panting and clutching his bleeding arm. The pain was excruciating, and he struggled to his feet, stumbling towards home. Once inside, he collapsed on the living room floor, the room spinning around him. His mother found him there, her face pale with fear. "Ethan, what happened?" she cried, rushing to his side. "I don't know," Ethan gasped. "Some kind of animal, it attacked me." His mother called for help, and soon the local doctor was tending to his wounds. But as the days passed, Ethan began to notice strange changes. His senses grew sharper, his reflexes quicker. He felt an unnatural strength coursing through his veins, and his temper flared with little provocation. As the full moon approached, the changes became more pronounced. Ethan's nights were restless, plagued by vivid dreams of running through the forest, hunting prey. He woke up drenched in sweat, his heart pounding with an uncontrollable rage. The night of the full moon, Ethan's transformation began. His body convulsed with pain as his bones shifted and his muscles expanded. His vision blurred, and he felt his consciousness slipping away, replaced by an overwhelming instinct to hunt and kill. When he awoke the next morning, he found himself in the forest, his clothes torn and his hands stained with blood. Memories of the night were hazy and fragmented, but the destruction in town spoke volumes. Homes were damaged, livestock slaughtered, and the townspeople were in a state of panic. Ethan's horror grew as he realized the truth: he had become a werewolf, and the curse was now his to bear. Ethan's world had been turned upside down since the attack. The wound on his arm throbbed with a persistent, unnatural pain that seemed to seep into his very bones. As the days passed and the full moon drew nearer, the changes in his body became more pronounced, and his fear of what he might become grew with each passing hour. It started with the senses. Colors became more vibrant, sounds more distinct, and scents more intense. Ethan could hear the soft rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of crickets with startling clarity. The smell of pine trees, damp earth, and even the faint scent of the bakery in town reached him with a sharpness that was both exhilarating and overwhelming. But with these heightened senses came an undercurrent of something darker, an uncontrollable rage that bubbled just beneath the surface. He found himself snapping at his friends and family over the smallest things, his temper flaring unpredictably. It was as if a beast was waking inside him, clawing to break free. As the night of the full moon approached, Ethan's anxiety reached a fever pitch. He secluded himself in his room, trying to keep a safe distance from those he cared about. Despite his efforts, the changes continued. His muscles ached, and he felt a restless energy coursing through his veins. On the night of the full moon, Ethan's transformation began in earnest. The pain was unlike anything he had ever experienced. It felt as though his bones were being shattered and reformed, his muscles tearing and rebuilding themselves. His skin burned with an intense heat, and he could feel the beast within him taking control. He let out a blood-curdling scream as his body convulsed and twisted. His fingers elongated into sharp claws, and thick fur sprouted from his skin. His vision blurred, and his consciousness slipped away, replaced by the primal instincts of the werewolf. The transformation complete, Ethan, now a hulking, fur-covered beast, burst from his home and into the night. The werewolf's senses were alive with the scent of prey, and a savage hunger drove it forward. It prowled through the streets, its glowing eyes scanning for movement. The town, bathed in the eerie light of the full moon, became a hunting ground. The werewolf moved with unnatural speed and strength, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Fences were torn apart, livestock slaughtered, and property damaged. The townspeople, terrified and confused, barricaded themselves inside their homes, praying for the nightmare to end. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, the werewolf's rage began to subside. Exhausted, it retreated to the forest, where the transformation reversed itself. Ethan woke up, disoriented and in pain, his body once again human, but covered in blood and bruises. He had no memory of the night's events, only a deep sense of dread. Stumbling through the woods, he made his way back home, where he collapsed on the porch. His mother found him there, her face etched with worry. "Ethan, what happened?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ethan shook his head, his mind a blur. I don't know," he whispered, the weight of his predicament settling over him. "Something terrible happened, but I can't remember." The news of the night's destruction spread quickly through the town. Whispers of a wild beast, a creature of the night, filled the air. Ethan knew he had to find answers and fast. The werewolf curse was real, and he was now its unwilling host. Ethan's mind was a storm of confusion and fear. The memories of the transformation and the destruction that followed were fragmented and dreamlike. Desperate for answers, he turned to the one person he trusted more than anyone else, his best friend, Sarah. Sarah had been a part of Ethan's life for as long as he could remember. They had grown up together, shared countless adventures, and confided in each other about everything. If anyone could help him make sense of what was happening, it was her. One afternoon, Ethan found Sarah in her family's bookstore, stacking shelves with the latest arrivals. The scent of old books and fresh ink filled the air, a comforting reminder of simpler times. Sarah looked up as he entered, her eyes lighting up with a warm smile. "Ethan, I've been worried about you. Are you okay?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. Ethan shook his head, the weight of his secret pressing down on him. "I need to talk to you, Sarah. Something happened, something terrible." Sarah's smile faded, replaced by a look of worry. She led him to the back of the store, where they could talk in private. Ethan took a deep breath and recounted the events of the past few weeks, the attack, the changes, and the horrifying transformation under the full moon. Sarah listened intently, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Ethan, are you saying that you've become a werewolf?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan nodded, his heart heavy with fear and shame. "I don't know what to do, Sarah. I need to find a way to control this, or break the curse." Sarah's mind raced, trying to process the unbelievable story. "We need to find more information. There has to be something in the law about werewolves and how to break the curse." Together, they pored over old books and dusty tomes, searching for anything that might offer a clue. Hours turned into days as they delved deeper into the history and mythology of werewolves. They discovered that the curse was ancient and nearly impossible to break. It was said to be passed down through bloodlines, binding its victims to a life of torment. One evening, as they were sifting through yet another book, a voice interrupted their search. "You won't find what you're looking for in those pages." Ethan and Sarah looked up to see a man standing in the doorway. He was tall and lean, with an air of quiet confidence. His eyes, a piercing shade of green, seemed to see right through them. "Who are you?" Ethan demanded, his heart pounding with suspicion. The man stepped forward, his gaze steady. "My name is Lucas. I know what you're going through because I've been through it myself." Ethan's eyes widened. "You're a werewolf?" Lucas nodded. "I was bitten years ago. I've spent my life learning to control the curse, and I can help you do the same." Sarah's eyes narrowed with skepticism. How do we know we can trust you? Lucas's expression softened with understanding. You don't have to trust me, but I think you'll find I'm the best chance you've got. If you want to survive this and protect the people you care about, you'll need my help. Ethan felt a glimmer of hope. What do we have to do? Lucas took a deep breath, his gaze unwavering. First, you need to learn to control your transformations and manage the rage that comes with them. It won't be easy, but I can teach you. Ethan and Sarah exchanged a glance, their resolve strengthening. We'll do whatever it takes, Ethan said, his voice filled with determination. And so began Ethan's journey to understand and control the curse that had changed his life forever. With Lucas's guidance and Sarah's unwavering support, he faced the struggle between his humanity and the beast within, determined to find a way to break the curse and reclaim his life. Ethan's journey to control the werewolf curse was anything but easy. With Lucas as his mentor and Sarah as his unwavering support, he faced the daunting task of mastering the beast within. The training was grueling, both physically and mentally, pushing Ethan to his limits. Lucas began by teaching Ethan to recognize the signs of an impending transformation. You need to understand your triggers, Lucas explained one evening, as they stood in a secluded clearing outside town. The full moon is the most obvious, but stress, anger, and fear can also bring out the beast. You must learn to control your emotions. Ethan nodded, determined to regain control of his life. Over the following weeks, Lucas put him through a series of exercises designed to strengthen his mind and body. They practiced meditation and breathing techniques to help Ethan manage his rage. They engaged in intense physical training to build his strength and agility, preparing him for the challenges ahead. Despite the progress he was making, the curse continued to take its toll on Ethan's relationships and mental health. His nights were plagued by vivid nightmares of hunting and killing, and he often woke up drenched in sweat, his heart racing. The fear of losing control and hurting those he cared about weighed heavily on him. One evening, as they sat around a campfire, Ethan confided in Lucas. I don't know if I can do this, he admitted, his voice filled with doubt. Every night, the beast feels stronger. I am terrified of what I might do. Lucas's eyes were filled with understanding. You're not alone in this struggle, Ethan. I've been where you are, and I know how hard it is. But you have something that I didn't have when I was first turned, friends who care about you. Lean on them. Let them help you. Sarah, who had been quietly listening, placed a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder. We are in this together, Ethan. No matter what happens, we'll find a way to get through it. Ethan took comfort in their words, but the fear lingered. He had to balance his new, dangerous life with maintaining a semblance of normalcy. He continued working at the bookstore, though he found it increasingly difficult to hide the changes from his colleagues and customers. He became more isolated, afraid of what might happen if anyone discovered his secret. As the full moon approached again, Ethan's anxiety grew. Despite his training, he knew that controlling the transformation would be a monumental challenge. Lucas and Sarah devised a plan to contain him during the night of the full moon. They found an old, abandoned cabin deep in the woods, reinforced its doors and windows, and secured Ethan inside. You'll be safe here, Lucas assured him. And so will everyone else. We'll stay nearby and keep watch. The transformation came swiftly and brutally. Ethan writhed in agony as his body twisted and contorted, the beast taking over. His roars echoed through the forest, but the reinforced cabin held strong. Lucas and Sarah watched from a distance, their hearts heavy with concern. When dawn finally broke, the transformation reversed, leaving Ethan exhausted and battered. Lucas and Sarah rushed to his side, helping him to his feet. You did it, Lucas said, pride in his voice. You controlled the beast. Ethan nodded weakly, grateful for their support. But he knew that this was only the beginning of a long and arduous journey. The struggle between his humanity and the werewolf curse would continue, and he would need all the strength, courage, and support he could muster to face the challenges ahead. The full moon had come and gone, but the unease in Ethan's heart remained. The struggle to control the beast within was an ongoing battle, and each transformation left him more drained and fearful than the last. Little did he know, a new and more immediate threat was about to enter his life. In the days following Ethan's latest transformation, a stranger arrived in town. He was a tall, imposing figure with a rugged, weathered look, his eyes sharp and calculating. He went by the name Marcus, and he claimed to be a wildlife expert sent to investigate reports of a wild animal causing havoc in the area. But there was something about him that set Ethan on edge. Marcus wasted no time ingratiating himself with the townspeople. He listened to their fears, reassured them with his confident demeanor, and promised to find the creature responsible for the recent destruction. But his true motives were far more sinister. One evening, as Ethan and Sarah were walking home from the bookstore, they saw Marcus talking to a group of townspeople. He glanced their way, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. Ethan's heart raced, and he knew he had to be cautious. "Sarah, there's something not right about that man," Ethan whispered as they continued walking. "I have a bad feeling he's not here to help." Sarah nodded, her expression serious. "We need to find out more about him. If he's hunting werewolves, we are all in danger." Sarah nodded, her expression serious. "We need to find out more about him. If he's hunting werewolves, we are all in danger." Over the next few days, Ethan and Sarah discreetly followed Marcus, observing his movements and listening in on his conversations. It quickly became clear that Marcus was more than just a wildlife expert, he was a werewolf hunter, and he was determined to find and eliminate the creature he believed was terrorizing the town. One night, as Ethan and Sarah were discussing their findings, Lucas appeared at the bookstore. His usually calm demeanor was replaced by a sense of urgency. "We have a problem," he said, his voice low. "Marcus is a hunter, and he's getting closer to discovering your secret, Ethan." Ethan's heart pounded with fear. "What do we do?" Lucas's eyes were filled with determination. "We need to keep you safe and find a way to deal with Marcus before he exposes you to the town." The three of them devised a plan to keep Marcus off Ethan's trail. They created false leads and diversions, hoping to buy themselves time to figure out a long-term solution. But Marcus was relentless, and his instincts were sharp. One evening, as the full moon approached, Ethan found himself cornered by Marcus in a secluded part of town. Marcus's eyes were cold and unforgiving, and he brandished a silver dagger, an instrument of death for werewolves. "I know what you are," Marcus said, his voice filled with menace. "You can't hide from me." Ethan's mind raced, the beast within him threatening to surface. "You don't understand," he pleaded. "I'm trying to control it. I don't want to hurt anyone." Marcus sneered. "A werewolf is a danger to everyone. The only way to protect the town is to eliminate you." Before Marcus could strike, Lucas and Sarah appeared, armed and ready to defend Ethan. "Stay back," Lucas warned, his voice steady. "You don't know what you're dealing with." Marcus's eyes flickered with recognition. "Another werewolf," he said, his grip tightening on the dagger. "I'll take you both down if I have to." A tense standoff ensued, the air thick with anticipation. Just as it seemed violence was inevitable, Sarah stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "We don't have to fight. There's a way to control the curse. Let us show you." Marcus hesitated, his gaze shifting between Ethan and Lucas. "You have one chance," he said, lowering the dagger slightly. "But if you can't prove it, I'll finish what I started." With Marcus reluctantly agreeing to a truce, Ethan, Sarah, and Lucas knew they had to act quickly. They needed to find a way to prove that the curse could be controlled and that Ethan posed no threat to the town. The clock was ticking, and the next full moon was fast approaching. With Marcus now aware of Ethan's secret, and the threat of the werewolf hunter looming over them, time was of the essence. Ethan, Sarah, and Lucas knew they needed to find a way to break the curse or, at the very least, prove that Ethan could control his transformations. But to do so, they needed more information that might be hidden in Ethan's own past. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the town, Ethan sat with Sarah and Lucas in the bookstore. The air was thick with tension, and the weight of their situation pressed down on them. "We need to uncover the origin of this curse," Lucas said, his voice steady but urgent. "There might be something in your family's history that can help us." Ethan nodded, determined to find answers. "I don't know much about my family's past. My parents never talked about it." Sarah's eyes lit up with an idea. "What about old family documents or letters? There might be something hidden away that could give us a clue." Ethan's heart pounded with a mix of hope and trepidation. "My parents kept some old trunks in the attic. Maybe there's something there." That night, Ethan and Sarah climbed the narrow stairs to the attic, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. The attic was a dusty, cluttered space filled with old furniture, forgotten toys, and boxes of memories. They began their search, sifting through the contents of each trunk, hoping to uncover a hidden piece of the puzzle. After hours of searching, Sarah's flashlight illuminated a weathered leather-bound journal. "Ethan, look at this," she said, her voice filled with excitement. Ethan took the journal, his hands trembling. He opened it carefully, the pages yellowed with age. The handwriting was delicate and precise, and the journal belonged to his great-grandfather, a man named Alaric. As they read through the journal, they discovered a hidden history about Ethan's family. Alaric had been a scholar and an adventurer, traveling the world in search of ancient knowledge. One of his expeditions had led him to a remote village in Eastern Europe, where he had encountered a powerful and malevolent creature, a werewolf. In his journal, Alaric described the encounter in vivid detail. The werewolf had attacked him, and he had barely escaped with his life. But the encounter had left him with more than just physical scars. The curse had taken hold, and it had been passed down through the generations. Ethan's eyes widened as he read further. Alaric had spent the rest of his life searching for a way to break the curse. He had uncovered ancient texts and rituals, but the solution had always eluded him. However, there was one entry that stood out, a description of a rare and dangerous ritual that could potentially lift the curse. "The ritual requires several rare ingredients," Alaric had written. "But the most crucial component is the blood of a willing werewolf. Only by willingly offering their blood can the curse be broken." Ethan's heart pounded with a mix of hope and fear. "We have to perform this ritual," he said, his voice filled with determination. "It's our only chance." Lucas, who had been reading over their shoulders, nodded. "It's dangerous, but it's possible. We'll need to gather the ingredients and find a safe place to perform the ritual." Sarah placed a reassuring hand on Ethan's arm. "We'll do this together, Ethan. We'll find a way to break the curse." As they made plans to gather the necessary ingredients, conflicts arose between Ethan and Lucas. Lucas, who had accepted his werewolf nature, was skeptical of the ritual's success. "Are you sure this is the right path?" he asked. "What if it fails?" Ethan's eyes were filled with determination. "I have to try, Lucas. I need to reclaim my humanity." The tension between them was palpable, but Lucas ultimately agreed to help. They had a long and perilous journey ahead, and the full moon was fast approaching. Time was running out, and the stakes had never been higher. With a newfound sense of purpose, Ethan, Sarah, and Lucas set off to gather the rare ingredients needed for the ritual. They knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but they were determined to face whatever challenges came their way. The fate of Ethan's humanity, and the lives of those he cared about, hung in the balance. With a sense of urgency driving them, Ethan, Sarah, and Lucas set off to gather the rare ingredients needed to perform the ritual described in Alaric's journal. They knew that the road ahead would be perilous, but the hope of breaking the curse gave them strength. Their first stop was a secluded cave deep in the forest, where they sought a rare herb known to bloom only under the full moon. The journey was fraught with danger, the forest coming alive with strange noises and unseen creatures. They moved cautiously, their senses on high alert. "We have to be careful," Lucas warned, his eyes scanning the darkened path ahead. "The forest is full of predators, and not all of them are natural." They reached the cave as the moon began to rise, casting an eerie glow over the landscape. The herb, a delicate white flower, shone brightly in the moonlight. Ethan carefully harvested the plant, feeling a surge of hope. Next, they traveled to an abandoned village on the outskirts of town. The village was said to be haunted, and they needed a vial of moonlit water from the village well. The atmosphere was heavy with an unnatural silence, and the shadows seemed to move with a life of their own. As they approached the well, a cold wind swept through the village, and ghostly figures appeared, their faces etched with sorrow and anger. Ethan's heart raced, but Lucas's presence was reassuring. "Stay calm," Lucas said. "They are just spirits. They can't harm us." Ethan and Sarah quickly filled the vial with water, their hands trembling with fear. The spirits' whispers filled the air, but they made their way back to the safety of the forest, their hearts pounding with relief. Their final stop was a sacred grove, hidden deep within the mountains. They needed the blood of a willing werewolf to complete the ritual. As the full moon rose, Lucas prepared to offer his blood, knowing the risks involved. "Ethan, you need to stay focused," Lucas said, his eyes filled with determination. "This ritual is our only chance. You have to be strong." "Ethan, you need to stay focused," Lucas said, his eyes filled with determination. "This ritual is our only chance. You have to be strong." With the ingredients gathered, they made their way to an ancient stone circle, where the ritual would take place. The air was thick with tension as they prepared the site, arranging the herbs and the vial of moonlit water in a precise pattern. As Ethan and Sarah worked, Lucas began to speak the incantation, his voice steady and commanding. The ground trembled, and a low hum filled the air. The full moon's light bathed the stone circle, casting an ethereal glow. Ethan felt the beast within him stirring, the transformation beginning. "I don't know if I can hold it back," he gasped, his body convulsing with pain. "You have to, Ethan," Sarah urged, her voice filled with determination. "We are almost there." Lucas continued the incantation, and the air crackled with energy. The ritual's power surged through them, and Ethan felt a strange sensation, as if the beast within him was being pulled away. But just as the ritual neared completion, a figure emerged from the shadows, Marcus, the werewolf hunter. His eyes gleamed with determination, and he brandished his silver dagger. "This ends now," he snarled, advancing on them. Lucas stepped forward, placing himself between Marcus and Ethan. "You don't understand," he said. "We are trying to break the curse." Marcus's eyes narrowed with suspicion. "You're a threat to everyone. I can't let you live." A fierce battle ensued, the air filled with the sounds of clashing metal and fierce growls. Ethan's transformation was nearly complete, but he fought to maintain control. "Lucas, I can't hold it back much longer," he cried. "You have to," Lucas urged, his voice filled with urgency. "The ritual is almost done." With a final surge of strength, Ethan focused his will, pushing back against the beast within. The ritual's power intensified, and a blinding light enveloped the stone circle. Marcus, blinded by the light, stumbled back, his dagger falling from his grasp. As the light subsided, Ethan felt a profound sense of relief. The beast within him was silent, and the curse's hold on him had weakened. The ritual was complete. Lucas, exhausted but triumphant, turned to Ethan. "You did it," he said, his voice filled with pride. "The curse is broken." Marcus, realizing the truth, lowered his head in defeat. I was wrong, he admitted. I didn't understand. Ethan approached him, his heart filled with compassion. We all make mistakes, he said. But now we have a chance to move forward. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the group stood together, united by their shared struggle. The curse of the werewolf had been lifted, and Ethan felt a sense of hope for the future. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling journey through The Curse of the Werewolf. If you enjoyed the story and love diving into captivating tales, we would be delighted to have you as part of our storytelling community. Don't forget to like this story to show your support. Please share it with friends who appreciate a good narrative. Subscribe to our channel to stay updated with more exciting stories.